Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please stand and welcome Industry Operations Basic Training Class 2203. Please be seated. My name is Kirk Howard, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as Chief of the 80th National Academy. On behalf of the Academy and Industry Operations Basic Training Class 2203, we welcome the family, friends, and guests, including those sharing via live stream here today. We begin today's program with our national anthem, sung by our Deputy Assistant Director, Mr. Curtis Gilbert. Ladies and gentlemen, after the anthem, please remain standing for the invocation given by Albert Rahim, our Liaison Curriculum Development Branch Chief from the 80th National Academy.
Please rise. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I'm honored to offer the invocation today and would like to note that these are the words of retired ATF Special Agent Bobby McCormick. We thank you, God, that we live in a nation governed by the rule of law. You have called us to be peacemakers in a world that is often torn by strife and violence. For that reason, we pray now for all persons dedicated to the safety and well-being of our nation today. Thank you, Lord, that you have granted us the traveling mercies that enable family and friends to gather now for this time of dedication and celebration. We ask that your divine presence be with us during this graduation ceremony as we prepare to rededicate these industry operations investigators on behalf of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. We acknowledge our gratitude unto you for strengthening our training mission and for bringing persons of integrity and dedication to the Bureau once more. We pray now that you would bless this ceremony and each participant as we give thanks unto your name. Amen.
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Al. Please be seated. We can get our photographer. Seated. Okay, great. All right. This morning, right now, I'd like to introduce to you our keynote speaker, who will be with us later today, ATF's Deputy Director, Mr. Marvin Richardson. Thank you for being here. Your presence gives special significance to the ceremony. It shows just how serious ATF considers the training and responsibilities and authorities the agency is entrusting to you, IOIBT 2023. As you know, we've also had with us our Deputy Assistant Director, Mr. Curtis Gilbert, who's Industry Operations. We have Mr. Jason Cox to my left, the Branch Chief of the ATF National Academy, who you'll see later in the awards. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank the class supervisors for IOIBT 2023, Mr. Michael Scott in the San Francisco Field Division, Mr. Jonathan Long in the Boston Field Division. Later in the program, you'll see Special Agent Mark Jackson present his credentials to his daughter, trainee Adriana Salem. Mark began his government career in 1996 as an inspector with the former United States Customs Service. In 2000, he joined ATF as a special agent and was assigned to the Detroit Field Division. Mark is currently detailed to the Advanced Training Branch, where he serves as a project officer and acting branch chief. You also see Mr. Mike Biaki, the father of trainee Michael Biaki. IOIBT served in the United States Air Force as an aircraft mechanic during the first Gulf War. Following his service to our country, he earned a bachelor's degree from Southern Illinois University in Administration of Justice. After serving a brief stint as a police officer, he joined ATF as an inspector/IOI in 1998 under the Outstanding Scholar Program and spent his entire career in Northern Indiana. In 2005, he became an IOIBT instructor where over the years he's educated numerous IOI trainees in many topics. He's currently assigned to the Chicago Field Division in the Maryville area office. We also have Special Agent Joseph McCain Jr. He's the husband of trainee Candace Kane. Special Agent Kane has been assigned to the Philadelphia Field Division, Allentown Field Office since 2015. During his career, Special Agent Kane has worked many complex investigations, most notably the 2018 Allentown car bombing investigation, which, by the way, is noted up on the boards and seniors if you haven't seen that. Special Agent Kane works closely with state and local partners to combat violent crime and illegal firearms trafficking to make our community safer. Additionally, our ATF leadership team does their best to support the ATF graduation ceremonies. They do so to honor your achievement, demonstrate their support, and welcome you to colleagues in the future. In the audience today, we have some of the ATF senior leaders and directors of industry operations. To my right, we have Mr. Mickey French, the Deputy Assistant Director of Field Ops West. Next to him is the Special Agent in charge of Louisville Field Division, Mr. Sean Moore. Also, our Directors of Industry Operations we have with us today, Mr. Hans Hummel from the St. Paul Field Division, Mr. Adam Rogers, the Louisville Field Division, Mr. Roger Root, San Francisco, Mr. John Curtis, New York, Mr. Walter Glennon, the Acting Philly Director of Industry Operations, Mr. Kyle Allensack from Chicago, Mr. Nick Leary, Boston, and Matthew Plank from the Columbus Field Division. Also in the audience, we have a number of ATF guests from here and around the country who are here to support you in the meantime. Thank you all for being here. The IOIBT training has historically been delivered at Federal Law Enforcement Training in Brunswick, Georgia. However, due to COVID, space has been limited since that time. I would be remiss in not saying that we partner with the National Center for Explosive and Training Research and utilize their facilities, their staff, and their expertise in making sure the IOIBTs get to this point in their career. Class, for the past 10 weeks, we've told you what to expect of you. You arrive in Huntsville as individuals, strangers to each other. Today, you leave here as colleagues, friends, and family. Graduates, the supervisors, and training managers have given a great deal to your industry operations basic training class. Without their assistance, this class would not be the success that it was. Their hard work and commitment and dedication to you in this class. I also want to make recognize the contributions made by my staff in the ATF National Academy. Their expertise is essential in helping make sure the trainees are prepared to reach this important day. Specifically, I'd like to highlight Mr. William Burton, our full-time staff member from the ATF National Academy, detailed over here to make sure that you guys get to this day. Again, we welcome the family and friends who are celebrating this special occasion. I have a special message for you. Today, you too join the ATF family. The graduates always need your love and support now and into the future. This will help the graduates be grounded and balanced in their careers. All ATF employees, please rise and give applause to our new ATF members. On behalf of the Office of Human Resources and Professional Development and ATF National Academy, I'd like to extend a very special congratulations to you, graduating class. I'm very proud of you, and your future are bright and full of opportunity. I now have the honor of introducing to you our Deputy Director, Mr. Mark Richardson. He is our second in command of the Bureau. Mr. Richardson was appointed the ATF Deputy Director for ATF in in June of 2021. He's also served as the Chief Operating Officer. In the past, he served as the Assistant Director of Enforcement Program Services, and he began his career with ATF in 1989 for the Dallas Division. From there, he rose up in the ranks to hold an ATF to hold numerous management positions and increasing responsibilities. They include the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the Phoenix Field Division, the Chief of the National Center for Explosives and Trade Research, Chair of the Professional Review Board, Special Agent in charge of the Denver Field Division. Most recently, the Acting Director for ATF as well, who's missed office as well, better part of a year. Mr. Richardson received the Treasury Department's Hostile Action Medal for his service during the 1993 Branch Davidian conflict in Waco, Texas. In 2010, he was named ATF Supervisor Employee of the Year for his outstanding leadership contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome ATF's Deputy Director, Mr. Mark Richardson.
Well, good morning. Okay, we got to do a little bit better than that. I've been up since 4 a.m. Good morning.
Good morning.
Much better, much better. Hey, look, there are very few things that I enjoy more in ATF than coming, here to do a graduation. This is one of those things that when I talk about, it just kind of warms my heart to stand here, to look out, to see the smiles on the faces of the parents and the spouses and the family who are like, oh my goodness, it's over with, we're just beginning. And on the looks of the faces of the graduates, you are really glad, okay, great, it's over with, but it's only just beginning. But I say that because this is just one of those times for me, it's reinvigorating, right? I mean, it is just it's a pleasure to be able to look out and to see the talent that is coming into the ATF ranks, right? I mean, every year, what you want to do is you want to constantly reinvent yourself, right? And as an organization, the way we do that is to bring new blood into the organization, right? When I look at you guys, I think about your future. 33 years ago, I sat in your chair, and you told me I'd have been standing here today speaking to you as a deputy director. I'd probably, not this guy, right? But you never know what the future holds. That's why they call it the future, right? You got to wait to get to it. And I will guarantee you that there are those of you sitting in our ranks right now. You're going to be sitting in these chairs here where some of these senior leaders are sitting today. And you too will feel that pride that I'm talking about right now, that I feel when I talk about being welled up inside of you. And you go, man, I see that young face. I see those eyes. I see that ambition. And I'm just so excited because I know that that is going to benefit the agency and the American public moving forward. So that said, let me dive right in because I know that for you guys that have been here for 10 weeks, you're ready to go home. Thanksgiving around the corner, and the only thing standing between you and that is probably me and a couple of little administrative details like handing out your diploma. So we're going to get this thing on the road. So thank you, Kirk, for that kind introduction. When I think about some of the years there, you do me a lot more justice than some of those things probably deserve. But thank you for that. And then also thank you again, just to the family. And what I'd like to do is I'm gonna kind of get out of my order here just a little bit, but I want us to stand up one more time and give the families a round of applause because you guys are going to really understand why this matters a whole lot in the coming years. So let's give them a round of applause. Get back to that, okay? But first, I also want to extend my gratitude on behalf of our new director, Mr. Stephen Delbach. He apologized for not being able to be here with us today. We sometimes have to divide and conquer. He's in New Orleans. We had a conference there on violence, community violence there, and he had to be there as a speaker. So I was, when he said, hey, can you do the graduation for me? Well, it's kind of like, are you kidding me? Of course, right? I just said it's one of my favorite things. So it's fantastic to be here, and he does apologize that he wasn't able to be here with you guys. Also, I'd like to extend my thanks to Mr. Lloyd Burton and the training managers for this class, Dennis Brillhart, Donna Carlton, David Jones, Jennifer Marker, and Randy Woodruff. Let's give them a round of applause. I want to thank you guys for your dedication and for your professionalism in preparing the next generation of industry operations investigators to serve the Bureau and the American public. And then finally, I want to welcome you, members of IOIBT 22. Wow, you made it. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's how you can get them, because there will be times when you will wish, and we'll talk about that a little more too. But I do want to say that I'm extremely proud of the fact that you guys not only made it through the 10-week training, right, but you excelled during that time. I've heard nothing but great things about this class and about your academic prowess and your ability to really come together as a team and work, and that is very important, and you'll find out just how important that is as we continue through your ATF career. I know the time that you spent here has been challenging, but what it does do is it validates that each one of you has exhibited exceptional perseverance, dedication, and fortitude during this very important training. I also know it hasn't been easy being away from home. I know that we have family members here in the audience that you haven't seen in a long time, and I know it was tough sometimes being here, not just for you, but also for your families, wondering and worrying about how each other are doing and what's going on and whether or not you're safe and was anybody hurt during training. All those things are questions that, whether it's you who are having them or the family that was having them, those are questions that just kind of validate that there are some things in this job that you want to make sure that you do, and you do well, right? Because your safety will depend on how well you do your job, thus the training, right? So I want to make sure that I emphasize to you that you never forget the reason that you are able to go out and do your job every day really does exist, and the people who are here supporting you. Your family is the most important aspect of your life. Don't ever forget that. I can make that statement to you. 7 moves, 6 children, 3 bar exams that my wife took in order for me to pursue the career doing the things that I love to do most. I couldn't do that without my family, and nor can you do this job moving forward without your family. So don't ever take them for granted. Whatever it is that you are doing, if it's that phone call to say I'm going to be late, if it's, hey, look, yeah, I know you might be seeing something on the news. Imagine 1993, I was down in Waco, and a phone call that got to my mom and my wife. Let me tell you, it was an interesting time. And those times, while they're not always there, right, it's the little things, right? It's the you're not home yet, and I'm used to hearing from you. And you may not be able to make that call, but shoot a text, do something. But don't forget that family is the reason that you are able to be there. And when there's no one else there for you, they're going to be the ones that are going to be there supporting you. At the end of long, hard days, at the end of very frustrating experiences, they're going to be the ones there for you. So, family first. You're all about to embark on a journey, not just as investigators, but as career public servants. And that title in and of itself carries a certain weight with it that only people who are dedicated to service can bear. When you wear that title, it means that you place intrinsic value in things that have no monetary value, but they mean the world to you. So what do you mean by that? Well, I'm talking about those bitter cold days when you have to travel for hours just to get to a dealer's premises, only to learn that the inventory is kept in a Connex box. And when you get there, you find out that there's no heat. And remember, it's cold. And I saw some of the photos maybe behind me when you guys are in the Connex boxes. There's some nice photos. You know, some guy. It won't be like that when it's 32 degrees and you're standing out there and you're counting and you've got 500 firearms inventory in this Connex box. Oh, and did I mention you have to do that by yourself? But you know what? You do it. Or maybe when you have to go to, you bet I imagine, South Dakota to inspect an explosives bunker. And the closest services are 100 miles away. But you know what? You do that too. Or perhaps it's that visit to a mom and pop dealer who's been in business for 30 years, but recently had 6 firearms show up in multiple sales, for multiple sales purchases that had NIBIN hits to them on crimes of violence that had less than 30 days, And you get to go out and do an inspection there. No, did I mention that their books are handwritten in 3-ring binders? And they had a leak in the roof, last spring, and got on the books, so they're covered with mold. And you got to go in and do an inspection. But you know what? You do that too, because you know that the outcome of that is going to be helping someone else. Intrinsic value, those things that you can't put a dollar value on, but you do them because of what you believe inside. And that is that what you're doing is right, and what you're doing is going to help someone else. Now, there are going to be a lot of days when the only pat on the back that you're going to receive is going to be from yourself. So there's one more part of your training that I get to do with you guys here that this is participative, and it's for a grade, okay? So this is the final grade you're gonna get. So you have to follow after me, okay? I want each one of you to extend your right hand in front of you. Take your left hand, put it under your right elbow. Reach back over your left shoulder and do this. That may very well be the only pat on the back that you get for doing your job, but know that it's the one that counts the most, right? Because it's an affirmation that you know why you did what you did, regardless of what anyone else knows. It's not for the accolades. It's not for the pay. Now, you will get paid, okay? The Eagle does land every 2 weeks in your nice little nest account, so you will get paid, but those aren't going to be the reasons that you do these things. So as you receive your credentials today, you're also going to receive some awesome authority that will allow you to enforce the federal firearms and explosives regulations and to conduct investigations and inspections of licensees, the results of which can determine if those individuals will maintain their livelihoods or in some cases be referred to federal prosecution. Now, with that authority comes a lot of power. So I want to take a few minutes to talk about harnessing that power so that you control it instead of allowing it to control you. So first, always remember that our mission is a noble one. We protect the public against violent crime, and we regulate the firearms and explosives industries. Now, to do this, you must exhibit high moral character, integrity, competence, trustworthiness, empathy, and humility. Now, just about all of those qualities speak for themselves, but it's the last two that I want to spend a little bit of time talking to you about, because those are the ones that are going to help you to stay in check when it comes to exercising power. So empathy allows you to consider other people's feelings and to remember the golden rule, to treat others the way that you want to be treated, even when you're dealing with the worst violators in the business. You are governed by rules that say you must treat them fairly. Humility. Humility allows you to take a step back and not think too highly of yourselves. You may be the team leader on an inspection, but you're not the boss of me. That's what I'm telling you. I hear them talking about, you're not the boss of me. Always remember, very few of us do anything really important on our own. So it's that being a part of a team. It's that humility that steps back and says, give the credit to someone else. Share the credit. Make sure that you don't put yourself on a pedestal to the point, because that is when arrogance comes into play. And when arrogance comes into play with power, arrogance takes control of power and causes it to do things that are not right. So always remember to exercise humility. Now, we searched all over to find you guys, and you're the best, you're the brightest, and the most talented candidates who are out there. And today, you will become the newest members in a long line of ATF industry investigators. As industry investigators, I want to tell you a few things that you need to know about yourselves. You didn't know I knew these things, but I know these things about you that maybe you don't even know yet. You are the first line of defense to prevent prohibited persons from obtaining firearms. That's who you are. You are the face of ATF to most licensees, and you represent the entire agency when you're out there. So remember that the way you conduct yourself reflects on all of us. The work that you do ensures the traceability of crime guns. When a police officer or a child is shot, one of the most useful tools that we can use in solving that crime is firearms tracing. And you are responsible for maintaining our ability to do that. You are vital to our mission of protecting the public. You and your special agent counterparts will work together to fight violent crime and to protect this nation. You're part of a team, part of ATF's 1-2 punch against violent crime. When we start talking about people who would otherwise divert firearms into illegal commerce and use them in crimes. That team of you and your special agent counterpart are going to be the ones that are out there at 2 o'clock in the morning after an FFL burglary, because we know that those guns are going straight to the streets and straight into some criminal misuse. But you're going to be there, you're going to conduct that inventory, we're going to follow those leads, and we are going to do our best to recover those guns so that the public that is in that area will be safe. Because we know that those guns are used right in the communities that they're stolen out of. You also ensure that FELs are in compliance, right? Federal explosive licensees. If explosives get into the wrong hands, the damage to human life and property, we know can be catastrophic. And also, the proper adherence to the table of distances ensures that people who live and work near FFLs are safe too, right? Because accidents do happen. So to sum it all up, your unique knowledge of laws, regulations is crucial to successfully carrying out the mission of ATF. So do your work as if the mission depends upon you, because it does. Now, as an agency, ATF has a rich history which dates back over 229 years, from the Whiskey Rebellion in 1791 to Prohibition in the 1920s. ATF has been called upon whenever our society has faced a challenge and needed a champion. Whether it was the NFA in 1934, enacted after the likes of Al Capone wreaked havoc upon our cities, or the GCA in 1968, enacted after the assassinations of Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy. Or maybe it was the Explosive Control Act of 1970, which also brought about ATF's arson jurisdiction. Or how about the PACT Act or the CCTA to address illicit contraband cigarette smoke? Those are all part of ATF's legacy. Whenever society has had an ill, ATF has been looked upon to provide the cure. Now, each of these particular laws were passed. When they were passed, this little agency that started out collecting revenue was called upon to take on the task. And that hasn't always made us popular, but it has made us very good at what we do. And we're good at what we do primarily because we are an organization of leaders. So as you depart the academy today and head to your post of duties, I want you to think about what it means to be a leader in ATF, not the leader of ATF. Remember, we can get back to that humility, okay? You are a leader in ATF. And your first job is going to be to go back to your post of duty and be the best leader of one that you can be. And that one is you. Every day, you must look in the mirror and lead yourself to go and do the job that you have been commissioned to do, the best that you can do. That is your job, first and foremost, as a leader of one. Now, make sure, that you demonstrate, the kind of character that comes with a leader too, right? Character and competence make a leader. Demonstrate your leadership through self-discipline, teamwork, trust, focus, and execution. Now, American author John C. Maxwell once said, "A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." So be the one who influences, inspires, and motivates others to be their best. Don't wait for someone else. You don't have to be a leader in title. You can be a leader as an individual. So while there may be supervisors and others who have titles, you get to be a leader in and of yourself. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't speak a little bit about the department that we work for. The Department of Justice is the only department in the federal government that actually has a virtue for a name. So think about it, justice, not just us, justice. All right, so the Department of Justice is about a concept. It's a concept which really means ethical treatment under the law, right? In its simplest definition, justice means treating all people fairly and equally in the eyes of the law. Now, the oath that I took 33 years ago, which you're going to take really soon, is a commitment to carry out justice equally and fairly for all. So remember, you are now representatives of justice. And just like DOJ is the only department based on a virtue, ATF is the only bureau that really has a mission that impacts individuals' civil rights. And you go, what do you mean by that? The Second Amendment. When you think about what our mission does, our mission to enforce the federal firearms laws and regulate the firearms industry often finds us in the proverbial crosshairs of the public, the industry, the Congress, and the media. And when it comes to the Second Amendment, let me tell you now, if you haven't figured it out, people are passionate about it in this country. Just a note to self, you might want to write it down somewhere. People are passionate about it. But that doesn't matter, because we're going to do our job, and we're going to do our job right down the middle of the road. You see, I like to use a kind of an example of the yellow line on a highway. For those of you who are driving, whether you're going back to the airport or back to driving back home, you see the yellow line on the highway, it divides the highway, right? North traffic from south traffic, east traffic from west traffic. That yellow line, though the road may twist and turn, the yellow line never crosses the road. Has anyone ever seen a yellow line cross the road? If you do, trust me, you're headed for a head-on accident, right? That is who we are as ATF. The laws and regulations go right down the middle of the road. They don't lean left, they don't lean right, they go down the middle of the road. That is your job. That is part of that fairness that I talked about. When we talk about justice and equality and treating people fairly, it's there for you to follow, but you have to follow. So, as if that weren't enough, the statutes that we enforce, the NFA and the GCA, are 88 and 54 years old respectively. That's almost as old as I am. I'm not going to ask you which one of those you think I'm older than. Don't anybody guess, okay? But combine that with a modern manufacturing industry, right? New technology and new materials, and you get things like 3D printed firearms. Is that in the GCA? PMFs. Is that in the NFA? Ghost guns. Maybe let's go with arm braces. How about maybe a new definition of frame of receiver? Oh, we just did that. Trying to update 88 and 54-year-old laws to catch up with technology is a task. It's a task that we are always challenged on. Right now, we're being challenged in court on the new rules that we develop. And guess what? You get the luxury and the privilege of going out there and enforcing those new rules and those new policies. And all these people get to help you to implement them. Isn't this going to be fun? Yes, it is. All right? Because the kicker there is we have to make those adjustments in order to do that thing, that part of our mission, protecting the public, right? So we got to take every opportunity that we can to update what Congress has to do at some point, right? They haven't done it yet, so we continue to interpret these laws the best that we can. So new rulings, new regulations are the way that we do it. And you guys are going to be right out there. Remember when we talked about talking to that FFL community, you're going to be right there explaining why we do what we do and how we do it. And that's your job. So with that said, welcome to ATF. No, I'll get aside. I'm gonna bring this thing to a close because my time is running out. But you have fresh eyes, you have open minds, and you have time. You're going to have time in the future to watch all of this unfold. And one of these days, I'm telling you, one of you guys are gonna be sitting right there or standing right here, and you're gonna be saying, "I remember back when 3D printed firearms." They'll be printing everything by then. All right, we're already printing hearts and body parts and everything else, right? So the future is going to be right there in front. As I close, I will say this. ATF is a very unique organization. that has survived difficult times and endured many tragedies that resulted from many changes throughout the years. From the heartbreaking loss of Ariel Rios in Miami in the 1980s, to the tragedy of Waco, Texas, in which I lost 4 of my good friends, to the Oklahoma City bombing in the 90s, to the fallout of Fast and Furious in the 2000s. The common thread with all of those things is that we, ATF, always rise up and come back better. Some of our losses have been devastating. They have called for the ultimate sacrifice. But we have learned from those things, and we continue to employ those lessons so that as you go out there and do your job, that we have the benefit of learning from the past. It's your responsibility to make sure that you take heed of those lessons. Don't put yourself in a position to violate any of those lessons that we've learned, and don't let anyone else around you do it either. You must go to work. You must come home. Safety is always going to be paramount in your job, everything that you do. But this is your day to shine. You've chosen to do a mission, not just something, a job, right? This is a calling. So don't take this task lightly. When you walk into ATF headquarters, you're going to see a quote on the walls that says, loyalty, protection, perseverance, and partnership in defense of justice. That's who we are. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we do. So to take this oath and pledge is the most noble and admirable deed of all. It is a declaration to all things courageous, all things righteous, and all things selfless, with an unmistakable and unwavering clarity of purpose. That's what you have to have when you walk out of your house every morning. So I wish you a rewarding, fulfilling, and safe career. And I ask you to always bring your mind, your heart, and your spirit to work with you every day and do your job as if someone's life depends upon it, because it very well may. Thank you, congratulations, and I look forward to seeing you guys out in the field during my visits around. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. So now the only thing standing between you and leaving in your cars is myself, Mr. Cox, and your credentials. So we'll begin with the class of orders. If I can have the class supervisors, please come in. Class supervisors take time from regular duties to come to Huntsville to take on the important job of working with the class. They are mentors and they guide and inspire the trainees to succeed. The class supervisors do everything possible to help trainees complete this rigorous program. For that, we want to present this token of our appreciation. Mr. Jonathan Ball. Mr. Michael Scott.
Michael Scott. I tell you what I want.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now, now introduce Mr. Jason Cox, our basic training program branch chief, and class orders.
Hello and welcome. It is my pleasure to present the awards to IOIBT 2203. The Larry Shoemaker Memorial Award for Leadership honors a new investigator who personifies the enthusiasm, integrity, and dedication to excellence that were the hallmarks of Mr. Shoemaker's career. Mr. Shoemaker served with distinction in the San Antonio office. He was passionate about his job and always eager to share his skills. He regularly volunteered as an instructor at the academy, where he inspired the trainees with his knowledge and enthusiasm. This award has special significance since the class members vote to select the winner. The Larry N. Shoemaker Memorial Award is presented to Jeffrey Lee, Louisville Field Division. Please step forward. Investigators who maintain 97% or higher overall academic score on written examinations and successfully complete all practical exercises without remediation are designated distinguished graduates. As I call your name, please stand up and be recognized as a distinguished graduate. Jeffrey Lee, Louisville Field Division. Brandon McLeod, Dallas Field Division. Keaton Rommel, St. Paul Field Division. Megan Welch, Boston Field Division. George Witherington, Dallas Field Division. Congratulations. The distinguished graduate who achieves the highest overall academic average is designated the Class Honor Graduate. With a score of 100%, the Class Honor Graduate for IOIBT 2203 is Brandon McLeod, Dallas Field Division. The Kent M. Cousins Memorial Award for Excellence honors a new investigator who exemplifies the professionalism, kindness, and spirit of cooperation that Mr. Cousins was known for. The Academy staff selects the winner of this award. As an IOI, Mr. Cousins was greatly admired for his dedication. At the pinnacle of his distinguished career, he was the Director of Industry Operations for the New Orleans Field Division. He worked tirelessly in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina to help lead the search in Baton Rouge for missing ATF employees and their families. He secured shelter, food, water, and clothing for affected ATF employees. During the recovery, he put in long hours day after day, including a 75-mile commute, while at the same time dealing with damage to his own home and fighting a personal battle with terminal illness. Sadly, Kent passed away in 2006. We honor his memory and his deep devotion to the ATF family with this award. The Kent M. Cousins Memorial Award is presented to Brandon McLeod, Dallas Field Division. At this time, we'll present the credentials. Robert Banta. Presenting credentials to Candace Kane is her husband, Special Agent Joseph Kane, Philadelphia Field Division. Emily Gould. Carlos Jimenez Jr. Jeffrey Lee. Kristen Little. Brandon McLeod. Presenting credentials to Michael Pachaki is his father, Industry Operations Investigator Mike Pachaki, Columbus Field Division. Bernard Reyes Jr. Keaton Rumble. Presenting credentials to Adriana Salem is her father, Special Agent Mark Jackson, Advanced Training Branch. Granville Tanner III. Megan Welch. George Witherington.
Finish up here, last couple of things. I'd like to ask this class to please stand for reaffirmation of your oath by Mr.
All right. We waited a long time for this, and the time is now here. So I'm going to ask each of you to please raise your right hand. I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. And as we go down the line, I'm going to say, I state your name. You got the drill? Okay. Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Robert Panther.
I, Ann King. I, Emily Gould.
I, Carlos Jimenez. I, Jeffrey Lee.
I, Kirsten Little.
I, Brandon McLeod. I, Michael Italian. I, Bernard Reyes. I, Dean Marvel.
I, Adriana Salem.
I, Brenda Lieutenant.
I, Megan Welch.
I, George Witherington.
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
The Constitution of the United States.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I take this obligation freely,
That I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion.
and that I will well and faithfully
And that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office on which I'm about to enter.
of the office of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Please be seated. Well, class, it's now time to bid you farewell. Before I do, I have one last question. What's general order number 11? And that is my order to you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're free to take photographs around here. The photographs that we've taken here today will be provided to the students, industry operations investigators. I think we stand corrected. Or anything that you want to do up here, you're more than welcome to do so. But on that, please have a safe trip home. Look forward to you getting back to your family. And thank you very much.